I think that's a really good pick, and he'll be a differential, so straight away he raises up in the meter. So I'll go ultra hot for that one. I really like that. I think he could walk away with a very decent haul there. Okay, hi, I'm Luke from Fantasy Football Scout, also known as Disable in the community. I'm going to be doing some work here for Chasing Green Arrows. We're going to be looking at some players and judging them on the source meter. Picked my levels randomly, well, I say randomly, pretty much Nando's, isn't it? So lemon and herb right at the bottom, I guess. So go mild next, then hot, extra hot, and then I suppose we have to have another one. So let's go for ultra hot. Oh, okay. I do actually, yeah, I do quite like that because forwards are obviously pretty dreadful in FPL at the moment, and this is one of the standout fixtures. I think Aubameyang in the past has had quite a history of doing quite well in this sort of matchup. He seems to be less trustworthy these days, which is a sad sight to see, and often even ends up on the left wing. But over his career, he just produces goals consistently. So I think the way with Newcastle are playing as well, they seem to be, and I've only had one game so far under Howe, and he wasn't even there, but the signs were very much that they're going to continue to be open and continue to attack. So that all looks good for Aubameyang. So I think we're going to have to go for not ultra hot, the one just below, extra hot. I think we'll go with that. I quite like that, actually. I think he'll do well. Matt Target. Yeah, obviously Gerrard looks pretty good in his first game. It is only one game, so how much we can take from that, I'm not sure. But he seemed to, all the signs, whether he's going to look to set Aston Villa out defensively sound and keep a possession game. Kind of similar to Palace, really, who have looked really good defensively on the numbers and a possession game as well. So I'd imagine it'll probably be, they'll try to keep it low scoring, which obviously could favour Matt Taggart for a clean sheet. However, being the away side, Palace, in good form, I wouldn't expect too much from him. So maybe a clean sheet. I know he has got a little bit of attacking impetus, but it's not really a fixture you'd back it with. So I'd actually go, let's go mild on that one. Yeah, Simicast has been great, to be honest. We didn't see hardly anything. I think maybe not even one game last season, if I remember rightly. And he was tipped to be a pretty good player. And we definitely saw that at the beginning. He also takes some set pieces, corners. So cheap. Obviously, anyone in the Liverpool team virtually is a good pick, but especially, the fullbacks and the front three. So Southampton don't score an awful lot of goals. Liverpool do score an awful lot of goals. I think that's a really good pick, and he'll be a differential. So straight away, he raises up in the meter. So I'll go ultra hot for that one. I really like that. I think he could walk away with a very decent haul there. I actually looked at him a few weeks ago because obviously forwards have just been really bad in FPL, and he's so cheap. I think it was 5.9 at the time. He might still be. And I just think, a striker in this game who is that cheap and is on penalties instantly should jump quite near the top of our list, regardless of what team they play for, just because they offer such value. A lot of us are paying way more money for strikers who just don't score goals. So Wolves are a good team, good outfit. Norwich have obviously got that new manager bounce, like you said, and it's a home game. If anyone's going to score the goals for Norwich, you'd expect it would be Pukki. Again, the penalties are there. It's going to be a tough game because Wolves are good, but I do like that. I'll go for hot on that one. I think he's probably one of the better forward picks this week, actually. Oh yes, I really like him. He's a big favourite on FPL Twitter as well. I noticed actually he's got a 0.26 expected goal involvement per 90 minutes, which is actually really high for a defender. It's really quite impressive, actually. I mean, I know we've got some ridiculously good fullbacks and wingbacks in the game at the moment, but that's still quite high up there. Part of that is because he hasn't played that many minutes, but he just looks such a threat when he's on the pitch. Leeds, again, they've seemed to tighten up in recent weeks, and they're not scoring as many goals. So their big threat's obviously Rafinha. I think he might be fit for this one. But Brighton are just a good defensive unit, solid. And yeah, if they're going to score, you'd hope that Lamptey might be involved. So I like that one as well. I think that's hot, and he's definitely on my watch list. I mean, if we didn't have so many other good defenders, I'd really be looking at this guy to bring him in. But right now, it's hard to fit him into our teams. But I think as a one-off, or even a free hit or something like that, he's a really good pick, actually. Everton have not looked great, have they? They've been pretty bad. I think when I looked at expected goals conceded over the last 6, Everton were right near the top. I think Man United were possibly the only team that were worse. But it doesn't really matter if you can see goals when you're Townsend. It's all about trying to score them. He does take some set pieces. He even has taken penalties. I'm not sure if Richarlison will be fit and playing. If he is, then he would likely take them. If not, then it would probably fall to Townsend. But there's going to be a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. I wouldn't bank on him getting anything, but I think if anyone in the Everton team is going to get something, it's probably him. And obviously, he loves a worldie as well. Brentford have been shipping goals of late. Obviously, got their backup keeper as well, which if you're shooting from range, to have the slightly worse keeper in theory in goal is better as well. So yeah, again, I don't like him long term at all, but for this game, I think he could do fine. So I'd say hot on that one actually. I think him and Royal on the other side were both touted as being good options under Conte because obviously of his past history of turning that position into just really good players and really good assets for his team. And it's only been a few games, but already the signs are there. He scored obviously last week, Regulian. It come back to the issue I had before with at the moment we've just got such good defenders such as Cancelo, Trent Alexander-Arnold, the Chelsea wing-backs. It's hard to fit him in, but I think if there is like one who's just below those four, it's probably Regulian at the moment, and obviously Burnley is a decent fixture. It is away from home, but you'd like to think that he could get something. So yeah, I'll go mild just because I don't really see clean sheets at the moment, and obviously relying on attacking output from wing backs is not the best idea in the world. But yeah, he's been doing fine. So yeah, mild I'll go for on him. Yeah, Dennis is crazy, really. He's kind of almost come from nowhere. Maybe that's just a little bit of lack of knowledge from my part, but I didn't see anyone talking about him before the season started. I don't even think he was sure to even be a starter in the team, but his performances have just lent to him being pretty much nailed on. I think he even started up front to begin with. Now he drifts out to the left. Um, I think he's the fourth highest scoring forward in the game. I think the one I looked before at such a cheap price. So regardless of me, even if he doesn't really perform in the game, he's just a great pick. He's I just said we're struggling for forwards. We're trying to put all our money at the back, and obviously in Salah and people like this, and you're looking for the cheap forwards. And Watford have got not particularly good games for a little while, and then they've got great games. I think from about 17 or 18 onwards, they've got a nice little run, and I think Dennis will be very, very popular at that point. For this individual game versus Leicester, like you say, they're shipping goals all over the place, and Ranieri's got them scoring goals. So Dennis is a fine pick. I think that's yeah. I'll go with hot in there. I'd expect there'll be goals in that game. If he was to start, he's obviously got a ridiculously good record over a number of seasons of actually scoring goals. It's not been working for him of late, like last season or so, really. But when you look at his data, he's actually got still pretty good expected goal involvement. If I remember rightly, I'm doing it from memory, but I think it was just above Gundogan, which was also really good. It was like 0.61 or something per 90, which is really pretty damn good. And I think we even saw last week, although yes, he did score, but he also missed a whole host of chances. But it's obviously the fact that he's getting those chances, which is kind of Raheem Sterling's calling card. He just manages to find the space. He makes the right runs. So eventually it's going to come off for him, and he's going to score two or three in a game if he gets the opportunity to actually play. And that's obviously the reason why we won't have him. But if he starts the game versus West Ham, then he's as likely as any of the players on the pitch for Man City to actually score the goal. So yeah, I do like that as well. I'd give that a hot if he starts. Mendy's arguably been the best goalkeeper in the league this season. He's certainly been up there. He's just so big, isn't he? He fills the frame. Chelsea's obviously been keeping a lot of clean sheets, but a lot of it's been down to him, actually. There's been a few games where I thought Chelsea have been a little bit lucky, but Mendy's just pulling out worldy saves left, right, and centre. Man United have got players who historically like a lot of shots, Bruno Fernandes and Ronaldo. I know it's not really been working like that of late, but you'd expect that Ronaldo and Fernandes would shoot on sight, and that's arguably a good thing for Mendy. And Man United are struggling to score goals as well. So I know they've just obviously changed manager. Maybe it's a harder game to call than it was 7 days ago. But I'd expect Mendy would probably walk away with save bonus if he doesn't get a clean sheet, which he's probably odds on in the bookies to get a clean sheet. I'd imagine. I've not looked, but I think he's a good pick. So I'm gonna have to go hot on that as well. I've been saying that a lot, haven't I? But yeah, I think he's hot. Okay, guys, that was my source meter for Game Week 13. Don't forget to subscribe at the bottom there, and good luck for your game week.